Hey everyone, wanted to welcome you back to I Told My Wife I'm Paying Bills. This is the host, Slim, and
This is Black.
just coming back to you with another podcast. This one is going to be a little bit exciting for us because we are both fans of this game. And I told you, I think it was either the first or the second series. It's one of I would think it is my favorite game for the Xbox and probably of all time, but I really can't say of all time. So the game I'm talking about is Gears of War. Um, I have been trying to get Black to play Gears of War 3 again. And ladies and gentlemen, I actually got him started on it. So we just got to continue on it. but
It's a miracle. It's a
but
miracle.
but
I tell
we got him
you.
started. That's a big step. The first step is getting him started. So what we're gonna do this episode, we're gonna just do like a nice quick episode, and we wanted to talk about the Gears of War 1, 2, and 3 a little bit. And we also wanted to go into some of the things that's coming out, the Gears movie and the animated series. Um, oh, and also, ladies and gentlemen, just in case it sounds a little different, it's gonna sound different for a while. So we're testing out to see. This is gonna be a little bit remote. We're not in the same room today. He's actually in the Bat Cave, in his man Bat Cave, and and I'm actually here in my my. Well, see, I'm the Batman fan, so why can't I have the Bat Cave?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. You
yeah.
got
That's
you
true.
got the man cave. I got the Bat Cave. How about
Yep.
that?
There
All
you
right,
go.
all right. So yeah, that we're in different places. So he's on the call and I am on the mic. So all right, just to kind of give y'all a little heads up about that. All right. So uh I wanted to start off talking about Gears in general. Gears, for those who don't know, and I don't know why you don't know because this is such an awesome game. If you touch the Xbox, or even if you even just kind of heard about, if you're any kind of gamer, you've heard about this game. So even if you're a PlayStation user, I'm sure you've heard about this game. Gears of War. It's a third-person shooter. It's made. It was made in 2006 is when the first installment came out, and the original trilogy, because they actually have five now, and actually it's more than five because they have like little offshoot mobile games and everything like that, and they also
Yeah,
have
yeah,
yeah, they have the
yeah. They got the strategy game.
yeah, they got the strategy, the mobile.
Yeah, the mobile. Yep.
Mhm. And I think was it? I think that might have been it. But I think that's the amount of games they have. I'm looking at Gears Tactic, Gears Pop, but this game got so big that they ended up coming out with books and comic books and everything. So that just shows how major the game was, and that was really good. So
It was so exciting that it was so exciting that when that game first came out, the first one, you had guys getting the actual Gears of War tattoo right on their body. I mean, with the
yeah,
skull and the
yeah,
gear in
yeah,
the
yeah,
middle.
yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy
It,
when
it
that game came out.
I mean, that's a dope tattoo. I wouldn't get it, but it's a dope tattoo. But it's funny because when it was either two or three, whenever they released it, they released the GameStop exclusive Lancer, and I was so close to buying it, but I did not. And I'm to this day, I'm a little upset that I didn't buy that Lancer. I mean, but I wouldn't have anywhere to put it right now. Like I got all these Call of Duty stuff, and then my Call of Duty stuff are sitting up in the closet right now. I don't have them out. So
Mm.
it's kind of good that I didn't buy the Lancer because I probably wouldn't be displaying it on the wall. I got so much Batman stuff and Yankee stuff on the wall right now. I would have no place to put it. So going back to Gears, the original Gears, it was released by Epic Games. Um, with the developer Cliffy B. A lot of people talk about him. This some old stuff, but
Mhm.
it was really good. And like I was saying, this game was so good. This is the game that got me to buy an Xbox. And I was like, there was something about just the combat, the roadie run, just the way you actually duck and cover. It was
Yep.
just so intricate and I mean, like I say intricate, but it really was more so. It was more like it's fun and playing it. You actually like get this feel like, oh man, I really got to duck and cover, yeah,
Yeah.
because like
Oh yeah.
it's really gritty and hardcore, definitely hardcore. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
yeah.
believe what they call, when that game launched, they're getting everybody ready for what they would call Emergence Day.
Oh
And the day when the hive just comes out of the ground and they're ready to take over the world of Sarah away
correct.
from the humans. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty
Yes,
good.
yeah. So Gears 1, actually, you bring up Emergence Day. Gears 1 actually takes place 14 years after Emergence Day. So
Mm,
that is when you start out as Marcus Phoenix, and in Emergence Day, like he said, is when the locusts first erupted out the ground. And that just being thrown into that, you get the story a little bit later on throughout the games that you play more about Emergence Day, but just being
mhm.
thrown into that is just like, really mind bending because you start off, you're the hero, but you start off in jail. So that's
Yep.
kind of crazy because it's just like, okay, why is your hero starting off in jail? It's odd, but you start off in jail. Your best friend Dom comes to get you. He basically rescues you from jail because the jail's abandoned, and you're like the
Mhm.
last one left in the cell. It seems. It seems like it. You may or may not be. Of course, they don't show everything else, but it seems like you're the last one in jail. And when you get rescued, you got two choices. You can either go right into the action, or you can go and train. But the reason why you're in jail, you find out later on that you were in jail because you disobeyed orders to try and go and save your father years earlier. And I don't know, I can't remember if was it after Emergence Day, like right after Emergence Day, or it was a little bit more, a couple more years after Emergence Day that was when you saved your father, when you tried to save your father.
I believe it was a couple more years afterwards.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I believe so too. I think so. It looks like it's here. But so you meet up a little bit later with Delta Squad, and the whole purpose of this game is you got to go find a resonator to map the tunnels called the Hollow where the locusts
Yep.
live, because you're gonna
Mhm.
release a light mass bomb.
Yep.
Now that whole concept right there is just crazy because you're really just going for like one or two tasks, but through the whole game it seems like you're doing so much more,
Yep.
and it's so crazy. Then it's just fun doing it because you learn all these tactics, the grenade throw, and that grenade throw is wild too. I love the arc that they have.
Oh yeah.
You get a
Oh
nice look
yeah.
because it shows the whole arc and everything like that, how you can actually, like, place the grenade just perfectly. Because
Mhm.
it's also useful for when you're trying to close up some of the locust holes. So, that's actually very, very useful. Um, but the different weapons. So, before I go further, what is your loadout? What's your favorite loadout?
Well, my favorite loadout is first, for automatic, spray, that's the Lancer, and it has, everybody who's played Gears of War knows that the Lancer has that saw on it, and close encounters,
Yep.
I'm gonna saw some of them grubs up, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, I got
So,
you, I got you.
it's a Lancer. As far as my handgun, it's got to be the bolt top, you
Okay,
know,
okay.
you know.
Mhm.
Then I would say for blowing stuff up, for part one, it was the boom shot,
Okay,
you know,
okay. Yeah.
and uh, and then yeah, of course, yeah, that's my loadout right there because you got either the grenades or I believe yeah, you got the original grenade on the top. So
Okay. All
yeah,
right.
that's my loadout right there.
So when you can't access the boom shot, what's your next cog weapon? Like what other weapon? Well, not just cog weapon, but more readily available weapon. So would you rather use the shotgun? Would you rather use the long rifle, well, the sniper rifle, or would you rather use like a hammer burst?
I'm more of a I'm more of a I would say I'm more of a shotgun guy. You know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to use the hammer burst because it
Hmm.
sort of reminds me. Even it's a rapid shot. It's not exactly like the Lancer, but
Yeah,
it's still a
yeah.
rapid shot, and I got the Lancer for that.
Okay,
So, um, yeah, it will definitely be the shotgun. You know, because
okay.
some of them grubs they're a little aggressive. They try to run up on you. So,
Yeah, 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 yeah. They definitely are. Well, here's the funniest part is, um, I personally started with uh, a Lancer, not using my handgun at all. I used to not use it at all, and then I would use the shotgun. And so any game I like to play, I try to learn to use the shotgun pretty quickly because a lot of games they make their shotguns pretty quick, pretty powerful. But the only problem is you got to get in close to use it. But if you use it right, then the character either like an instant kill, one shot, one kill, or it's like for Gears of War, the other character will explode.
mm,
Um, but over the last couple years, the many other times that I've played Gears of War, I've actually found that my loadout is now the Lancer, the long rifle, the sniper rifle, and the Boltok myself.
oh
And
yeah, that's pretty
and
good. About yep.
and I do that because a lot of times, I just take that sniper rifle out and I can just pop some heads just like that,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So
From long range, from
yeah,
long
yeah.
range.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I really like about that game is you just do some nice long range stuff, and then that brings it to where you shoot long range, you get some of the ones who are actually taking you out from different corners and different
Yeah.
windows and stuff like that from all around. You can take
Yep.
those guys out pretty quickly, then you can handle the other stuff that are around. So that's another reason why. And the Boltok, of course, we love it for the same reason. You shoot them and you can pop some heads with that Boltok.
Oh yeah. All day long.
Right,
All
right.
day long.
Yeah. So in the in the first game, the big bad is General Rom. General
Oh
Rom
yeah. Yeah. General Rom is a beast. I'm
fighting
trying to
that
say.
dude is crazy because you got the bat things are what they called is it Reavers? Not Reavers.
Uh
No,
no,
not
no,
Reavers.
they're not called Reavers, they're called Krill.
Krill. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. I cannot believe I see. And again, ladies and gentlemen, my memory sometimes is off. I can be like, oh, anyway. The Reavers are.
He still remembers more stuff than I do.
Yeah. So yeah, the Reavers are what they attack on, and I'm thinking now is what you ride out in Gears 2, which we'll get to shortly. Um, the Krill though, the whole time you're fighting Rom, you have Krill flying around, so you got to try and do that. And I remember the first time my friend and I played it, it was crazy. I can't remember how many times it took us to do it, but when we played together and we finally beat it, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It was like a big sigh of relief, and I thought I would never be able to beat that again. And then every time a new Gears come out, almost every time, I think once the newer ones came out, we didn't go back and play all three. But
Mm,
like when 2 and 3 came out, I believe we played 1 and 2 again, respectively, so they can actually we can actually play in sequence. So every time we were able to beat him a lot easier. Now, doing that alone is hard. And
oh yeah.
over the years, we've actually bumped up our difficulty level. I don't think we've beat it on insane yet, at least not together. But I know we've beat it on hardcore, and it's pretty hard to do, but it's doable. And
Mm,
playing it alone though, man, it was so hard. I know I died like multiple times playing beating General Rom, but he's the big bad for that game. And you end up getting the light mass bomb. It's on a train. Then that train rides, you ride into the cavern that leads into the hollow, and you basically end up bombing the locust.
mhm.
So
Yep.
that leads into Gears 2 6 months later.
Yep.
So 6 months later in Gears 2. Oh, by the way, Marcus Phoenix is actually promoted in Gears 1 because his commanding officer is actually killed by General Rom.
Yep.
So, and that one, that kill, oh my gosh, that kill was crazy. It almost reminds me of Halo. And see, you didn't play Halo, but there's this kill that this in Halo in one of the I was about to say episodes in one of the games where the oh man, one of the Covenant actually they actually run a sword right through and it goes right through the character, the other character. But
Mm.
that kill is pretty much exactly like the one in Gears, and Rom just straight runs hit this commander through with his blade, and this is all so gruesome, but it's just nuts. It was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe like this the way it happened. It was just crazy. So
Yeah. Yes. Because
and
I thought his commanding officer when I first played, I thought, oh yeah, yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna ride with him to the end.
right,
'Cause, all those guys look tough, but he really looked tough. You know, but
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Ron killed him like he won't nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
And then also too, don't forget you meet up with Cole and Beard, so that's cool.
Oh
That
yeah.
Cole, Augustus Cole is the craziest part. Like I honestly wish I could have played Augustus Cole through most of the game.
Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
dude,
Cold Train is crazy, man.
he is nuts. He's in the background, like saying all this crazy stuff, and
Yeah,
it's like, woo, this Cole train, baby.
yeah.
That
Oh
dude
yeah,
is
oh yeah.
he's off the
Now,
chain.
and anybody who's ever played it knows, there's a lot of profanity in that, in
Yeah,
that game.
yeah, 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 definitely,
It's
definitely.
rated mature.
So, but going back to Gears 2, he was promoted. And like I said, you start off defending a hospital, and you
Hmm.
find out that light mass bomb that you released actually caused a little bit of an issue. And it once it started vaporizing the emulsion, and which emulsion is their source of power on Sarah. Once it started
Hmm.
vaporizing emulsion, it ended up giving uh, the people what's called rust lung. It's just a disease that came about from that. So what the gear is doing in this one is they're getting ready, they're mobilizing, they're gearing up to mobilize to attack the locusts in the hollow, because
Hmm.
they just want to end this fight all at once.
Yep.
And so in doing this, like I said, you start off defending a hospital. After that's done, later on in the game, you actually are on a rig, this nice giant rig that you have to defend through most of it to get you to this point where to this town where you can actually drop and deploy um in these pods all the way underground
Yep.
into the hollow. They're trying to find the best place to deploy these pods. Excuse me. So while doing this, you're fighting along the whole way. You're going against you're seeing Brumox, and
Yep.
you're seeing all these other
Robot.
type of characters. You get to actually fire on the Brumox this time, so that's dope.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going through and doing all this stuff. Well, by the time you get to the town, when you get to the town, you have to go through the buildings, clear the buildings out so the rigs aren't attacked.
Yep.
When you get finally through this place, oh yeah, and the tunnel. The tunnel was really scary when I first played it because like you didn't know what's in the tunnel and like you're creeping through and all that. So that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's when they start throwing all those tickers at you, and
Yes, the
man,
tickers.
those things were annoying.
Yes, the
you know,
tickers are crazy.
um, and let's not forget about the fact that they're trying to figure out what's sinking the cities. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know.
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that.
Okay, you getting that? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because there's actually when I get to that, there's another point that I'm going to bring up. But um, so you're doing the rigs, and on the way, there's a rig that gets destroyed, and the character that like walks off of the destroyed rig is a character named Ty. It's
Yep.
this giant Samoan, and well, I don't even want to say Samoan. It's Pacific Islander. I'll say that. It's this specific Islander character, um, who he's just really hardcore. Like you actually fight
Mhm.
in the hospital with him as well too, because
Yep.
in the hospital he starts off and he's like you see how hardcore he is while he's fighting in there. But when that rig is destroyed and he just walks off like nothing happened, you're like, oh my gosh, this dude is dope. Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
survive everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on to that thought.
Mhm.
All right. So you get in the rigs, you get into the town, and you drop. I mean, right before you drop, though, the rig that you're on gets attacked, and you see the next big general. I cannot remember his name. I'm trying to look it up here. All right, when I look it up, I'm gonna find it in a minute. Anyway, the next big bad general, you fight him. Well, you don't fight him, but you see him right before you're about to drop.
Mhm.
And the worst part about it is you don't know what happened to the character Dizzy, who's running that rig that's dropping you on. So you get in the pod, you drop down into the hollow, and you got to meet up with all the other characters. You and Dom actually, you
Now,
actually uh, fall
did,
down. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah. No, no. I was gonna say now. You remember that you actually got a new teammate. For a little while, Carmine.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Those,
I'm gonna get to Carmine when I get to the reason why the cities are dropping.
oh, got it. Got it. Got
Yeah.
it.
But go ahead and riff a little bit about when you get into the hollow for me while I look up that general's name because me and my bad memory, I'm like writing everything else down except for like the important parts.
Well. I mean, when you get to the hollow, you're fighting your way through, uh, and you're trying to figure out what's sinking the cities. And once you find out what's sinking the cities, you got your once you figure out what's sinking the cities, you won't believe it. It's this big, humongous, gigantic worm.
The
You
rift
know,
worm.
the way that's yeah, that's exactly what they call it, the rift worm. And this particular worm is sinking cities, targeting cities. Now, I've always wondered how in the world does the how in the world does the locust um control these beasts that's down here in Sure, like the Brumax and all these things they fly on. I forgot what they fly on. I always
The
wondered
Reavers.
about that.
That's it. The Reavers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Reavers. Yeah, how they even control those? But they control them and all that stuff. And they were controlling that big giant riftworm, sinking the Sarah cities, and they was trying to save the very last city. I believe I forgot what the name of it was. Having a brain fart there, but
Jacinto. Jacinto.
yeah, Jacinto. Yeah, yeah, they were trying to save Jacinto.
You see, I don't forget everything. I only forget. It's
No,
one of those
he
things
doesn't
where
forget. I
when
told
I'm
you he's
trying
got a
to
better memory than me.
well, it's funny because it's one of those things where I'm trying to remember certain things that's important, and then my mom was like, "Nope, you don't need to remember it right now." But
But
yeah. So like he was saying, I didn't find the general's name yet, which is like gonna bother me until I do. So, um, Jacinto, you saved Jacinto. So going back to the Carmine part of the story, um,
mm,
so it's so funny, and I'm almost ashamed at how it took me so long to realize this. The Carmine brothers. The first one you meet is Anthony Carmine, and he's in Gears 1. He end up dying because he gets popped in the head.
oh yeah, I remember. Yep.
Right,
Yep.
right. The second one you meet is I didn't see the other Carmine's name, and but either way, his name starts with a B. So all the Carmines is A, B, C, and so far I don't remember any other Carmines being in there, but there are more. I looked it up. There are more, but I don't remember what parts of other games they're in. So each one of the Carmine brothers have different characteristics about them, but they pretty much look the same.
Mhm.
Um, the second Carmine, he was pretty much just a screw up. The first Carmine wasn't that bad. The second one, he seemed like really bad. He was like soon as he jumped out the chopper, he's like dropping his weapon and trying to pick up his stuff and all that. So
Yeah,
as soon
yeah,
as I
yeah.
saw him, I was like, oh yeah, he's dying too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You knew he was gonna you knew he was gonna die at some point in the game.
Right, yeah.
Just about he's dropping his bag and all that other stuff.
And the reason why I bring it up around the riftworm is because what happened is you're trying to get away in a chopper and the riftworm swallows you in the chopper.
Yep.
And Carmine is hanging out and falls inside the riftworm. You find him later basically eaten to pieces by these things that are coming out of the riftworm.
Yeah, it looked like riftworm parasites or whatever that. Yeah,
Right.
I guess what that is what they would call like the little parasites that's inside of riftworm and ate them up.
Right, yeah, and it was
But
pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
yeah, it was pretty bad, pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
But
Not as
you
gruesome
know
as what
the
you
way
do
you
to the
get out of
riftworm.
the riftworm.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Not as gruesome as this, but go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. The way you get out of riftworm is crazy because you actually have to kill it from the inside. You know, cut out all the arteries going leading to the hearts. And
Yep.
granted, it has more than one heart. How many hearts does it have?
I think it had 3.
Yeah, I think it had
Yeah,
three hearts.
3 hearts. And because you cut one, um, you have to cut, uh 2 valves at first, then you cut 4 valves, and you cut 6 valves, and by the time you get to that last heart, uh, you fill up, like, there's, like, blood everywhere, it's turned into a
Yeah,
pool, and
yeah,
and
exactly. Yep.
and you gotta cut your way out of that worm.
Yeah, before you actually drown in blood.
Right, right, right. So,
Yeah.
and after you kill the riftworm, you get out, you find your way out, well, one thing you have to do is you actually have to go and find out, these plans that what basically what happened is uh they find like a recording and it's Marcus Phoenix's father telling them,
Mhm.
"Hey, this is the way to kill the locust. Go ahead and drown him and this will take care of him." And we did leave out that when you go down into the hollow, one of the things you find out is that there's these lambent locusts
Yep.
who basically the emotion is turning these locusts like crazy.
Mhm.
Their control is just off the chain, and these guys like they're more powerful, but they're also explosive. So any
Yep.
type of locust, whether it's the wretch or it's just a regular locust, um, any one of those, they get into that emotion, and they turn lambent, and they're amped up. So after that, you go and you find out the plans. You find out that you need to sink Jacinto so you can actually flood the hollow, and you have to go and go back where you just left, and
Yep.
and you got to go down and you got to go into there and find the best way to sink Jacinto from underneath now. Um, which was some bombs, I believe. There was all, yeah. This one was bombs that you're putting in the center so that they blow up.
Yep.
Um, So they can't do it. They end up kind of issues that happen. I'm blanking on the issues at the moment. um, and which is also a good reason for you to check it out if you haven't. If you have, it's also a good reason to go back. And it's so funny because when we were originally supposed to talk about this, I just got from fresh off of Gears 2. So, um, but the best part about it is because the bomb doesn't work, and I think it's the trigger. I think that's what it is. It's the bomb's trigger. But a Brumac that you ride into the center of by Jacinto, a Brumac that you ride in there basically turns lambent, and this thing turns so massive
Mm.
and is just glowing that you're like, okay, that's our bomb now.
Yep, 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 yeah. I thought that was one of the sickest parts of the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, they couldn't find a bomb. There's got to be something we can use.
Yep, and they
And then
just
that
turned it
big
right
thing was
into it.
like, well, there's our bomb.
So, you turn this Brumak into a bomb, and you just they're in the King Raven flying around the Brumak, um, and you're shooting with the chain guns at the Brumak. And once it gets ready to blow, everybody takes off. They fly out. Everything's safe. Well, at the end of this, and this is the important part, you hear a voice, and you realize it's Marcus's dad. He's basically like, "What did you do? What did you do?" So, what I also forgot to mention in Gears One, at the end of Gears One, when you're finished and you're celebrating, you hear the Queen's voice, who is
Yep.
in Part Two. You actually meet the Queen, Queen Mira, in Part Two.
Mhm.
So at the end of Part Two, you actually hear Marcus's dad's voice, and he's just like, "What did you do? I hope you didn't sing it. Can anyone hear me?" So that's important. That leads into Gears Three. So we've been playing Gears 3. We haven't played a lot. We just started because we had some issues. We talked about this, maybe, maybe not. Which is This is important. If you have, I don't think you had to do it for the Xbox One. I think maybe you did. I can't remember for sure. I haven't touched my Xbox One since I got my X. But if you're trying to play a 360 game with your friend and you weren't friends on the Xbox 360 before, what you need to do is you need to actually in the emulator, because this that's all it is on the Xbox One and the X is the 360 emulator. You press select and start, and that will bring up the menu like if you push the Xbox button on your 360. So then you can actually add your friend, and once you add your friend accepts and everything like that, it'll be just like you're doing it, and you can kind of do all of that within the 360. You can actually even still create a party on the emulator and everything like that. So it pretty much does everything like the 360. But had we had known that months ago, we would have gone through and done this already. So it's all
Yeah.
good. Hindsight, you know how it goes. That's all good though. So going back, we started playing Gears 3. Um, so tell me, Black, your first thoughts, because I heard your thoughts, but I want everyone else to hear your thoughts. Don't say everything you said on while we were playing the game.
Oh
But
no, I'm not gonna do
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
that.
I heard your thoughts. So tell them some of your thoughts while we started. And we got all the way to just the beginning. And I can't remember if did we get off the rig? I think we got off the rig, right? Or no, we're still on the
Yeah,
rig.
yeah. No, well, did we get off there?
I can't remember if we got off the rig or not yet. But anyway, though, you
Yeah.
start Gears 3. You start off on this floating rig. They call it a boat. I mean, it
Mhm.
looks like a rig to me though. And when it starts, you think you're back in Gears One, because even we were saying this, and I forgot because it had been so long since I played. I'm like, wait, are we playing Gears of One or what? And then because you start off in the prison, you're Marcus in the prison, and then when the
Yeah,
door
he's
opens,
literally
go ahead.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm saying he's literally back in jail.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm like, wait, what did he do to get in jail? You know.
yeah, what's he still doing there?
So
Yeah.
when he opens the door, it's Anya who opens the door for him and not Dom. So that was a little like, a little mind freak right there.
Mhm.
So after you realize that it's a dream, you have to go and get Dom and pick Dom up, because the chairman is coming, which he's the dude that you meet in Gears too. So
Mhm.
tell me your thoughts so far about what we've gotten so far. And one thing that I do like is that they've added Anya, but
Yeah, yeah.
she's not the best player. But go ahead.
No. She's by far the least best player. I mean, I'll say that much. She just says a lot of obvious stuff, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I mean, like there's this one part, and it's the only part I'm gonna say. You know, as far as she's concerned, it's like there's one part where his dad pops up on the monitor. Marcus Phoenix's dad pops up on the monitor,
right.
and he sees it, and she sees it, and she's like, Marcus, I can't believe it. It's your dad. And I'm like, are you serious? Of course,
Right,
really,
right.
really, yeah. Of course, it's his dad. And even Marcus Phoenix says, I believe he says no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I ain't
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
say the
yeah,
word, obviously,
yeah,
but you
Yeah,
know,
no bleep Sherlock, that
yeah,
type deal. Yeah,
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 yeah, something like that. You know, so she just says a lot of obvious stuff.
yeah.
You
Okay.
know, yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of parts of that game that in the third one that you're like, all right,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I get it, I
yeah,
get it. But
yeah, yeah,
we're gonna still fight
I'm
through
not
it.
saying it. Yeah, I'm not saying it was out of all three. You know, it was it's not exactly my favorite, but going forward, as far as what we've done so far, I believe where we stopped at on the I believe we were on the. Did we get off those boats? Those
I
what we would call a boat.
I don't remember getting off of it. I really don't. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, but my thoughts on it so far, it's not a bad game. It's not a bad game.
yeah,
You know, you're dealing with Lambert stalks instead of holes going in the ground with locusts coming out of it.
right, yep,
I'm not
yep.
sure. You
So,
know,
all right. So we're gonna play. Oh, I got a little bit of feedback here. Sorry about that. So we're gonna play a little bit more and see if I can get him to complete it. He stopped last before, so we're gonna see how it goes from there. Um, Now we're gonna get into what's next is the Gears of War movie. So they have been trying to get this movie done since 2007. I looked this up yesterday. In 2007, New Line Cinemas they purchased the rights to make a Gears of War movie, and they signed Len Wiseman of Underworld. He made Underworld films. And
mhm.
he's another director, but that's most notable to me. It was Underworld films. He was supposed to start filming in 2008. Uh, Basically, he was taken off of the film, and it's been up and down, back and forth, all the way up until like 2016. Still kind of hanging around different things here, different changes, script changes, stuff like that. They even talked about how it's not going to be in the same universe as the game, and they actually said like it's going to be a different story. Well, on November 7th of last year, they actually announced that there's going to be an adult animated series, but there's also going to be a film. The adult anime series is going to be rated R, but the film they're actually doing it, and they're both going to be on Netflix. When I heard that, I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" It kind of blew my mind a little bit. I was actually like, just all over the place. So, um, one things I want to know though is, off the top of your head, first name that comes to mind for Marcus Phoenix. Who you got?
Marcus Phoenix. I would have to say uh John Batista.
Dave Bautista.
I'm
Yes,
sorry, Dave
yes.
Batista. I'm sorry,
And
Dave
and and
Batista.
the funniest part about it is he's been like a lot of people have been wanting him to do it for the longest time. He was actually a playable character for the multiplayer, and he wants to play it. Like it was announced, he even put out a tweet saying, "I'm ready," because he had his commercial that was done for years ago when I think it was Gears of War 3 came out, I believe it was. It might have
Mhm.
not been 3, it might have been one of the other ones, but he had this commercial that came out where he's gearing up and you see him in the Gears uniform, and he looks almost exactly like Marcus Phoenix. Now, it's so funny that he looks so much and can be Marcus Phoenix that I could not come up with anybody else. I thought Dave Bautista should have been Marcus Phoenix.
Mm.
So, um now, off the top of your head, though, this was a little bit harder for me. Not as hard as other ones, but who do you have for Dom Santiago?
For Dom, oh man,
And
this
if you tell me, I know you're not good with names, but if you could tell me what you saw them in, I could probably help you out with a name.
I would say for Dom, uh, Dom is a good one. I would have to say, uh, I don't know. Dom's such a difficult one. I mean, there's if I'm going to say somebody's going to be Dom, it's got to be. I don't know. I don't know, man. I
Yeah,
forgot what the guy's name was. I believe he was in one of the. No, that's Beard. I'm thinking about
yeah,
because
yeah.
he was in one of the Blades. But Dom, who's your Dom? I don't
So
even have a. I ain't gonna lie. I don't even have a Dom that's like really close to
yeah.
this. Yeah.
So Dom for me, Dom was a emotional character because I left off a part about his wife because we can get into a whole lot more things if I went more in detail about the stories, and that
Mm.
that story with Dom and his wife was just so heartbreaking.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, that was in part two.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
my top pick, it's so funny. I don't even have like a real top pick, but one person that I chose was Adam Rodriguez, and a lot of people might say, okay, well, these aren't the size, whatever. A lot, you got to think about this. Let me just say this: a lot of people didn't think Gal Gadot would be a good Wonder Woman because of her size, but
Mm,
she played that part very well. So Adam Rodriguez, he's in Criminal Minds and Magic Mike. I had a Ryan Guzman from Step Up, Pretty Little Liars, 911. Um,
mm.
I also like as a way off choice, but not really, because of how gruff he is. I chose Frank Grillo. He played Rumlow in all the Marvel movies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
and he's
yeah.
played in a couple other things too, but that's the most notable stuff. I had a J.R. Ramirez and Oscar Isaac, but these guys, like I said, these are like if they were just picking, because sometimes they just pick people. Um, but I also found Chinach Huerta from recently. He played Namor in Black Panther, well, Wakanda Forever. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so
exactly.
I
Yeah.
could see him doing it.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just it depends on the emotion, and that's what it is for me. It's how can you play Dom? And I need somebody to play Dom with that emotional connection. So
Yeah.
okay, so we got our Dave's. I mean, sorry, we got our Marcus, we got our Dom. Here's the one that I was like, as soon as I thought about this, I was like, okay, this one actor came to mind, but Augustus Cole, who comes to mind for you? First thing.
Augustus Cole
Mhm.
first. It would be uh the guy on Friday after next.
Friday After
Um,
Next. Oh, Terry Crews.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Terry
yeah.
Crews. Okay.
Jericho. Yep,
So
yep.
here's the funniest part about it. Terry Crews popped up in my mind first, but
Mm,
then at that moment, literally, it was so funny. At that moment that Terry Crews popped up in my mind, I was watching TV, and it was one of those entertainment shows, and they talked about Creed 3, and the actor in Creed 3 that's going to be in Creed 3, Jonathan Majors. So he's in Lovecraft Country, The Harder They Fall, and he's gonna about to play Kang in Marvel in the new Marvel phase that's coming up. So
mm.
um I'm trying to think of something that you might have seen him in that uh, see one of those like The Harder They Fall might have you might have seen him in that. But if you saw him in the Marvel movies, he was in Loki. He played the same character in Loki. But yeah, if you look at Creed 3, he's in Creed 3. And like I said, I'm trying to think of something that you might have seen him in, but at this moment I can't think of something that you would have seen him in. So it's not coming to me.
Mm.
But I saw Jonathan Majors and I was like, "Oh yeah, I think he can definitely play a good Cole." And then I was talking to my friend, and my friend was telling me, he was like, "Okay, well, what about Cole's voice actor?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "The guy who plays Cole can actually play Cole." And I didn't realize it, but it's Lester Spate, the guy who's the office linebacker.
Mm.
Look up the office linebacker and watch that commercial, and you will see. When you see that, you're like, "Oh my gosh, that is Cole." So definitely check that out if you get a moment. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually looking at it now.
yeah. So, uh, and kind of quick because we want to go ahead and wrap this up. Um, For Damon Beard, I had a couple of different people. I had which is funny. I saw this online and I thought about it, but Damon Beard, you need somebody who's basically a smartass, and that's the only way I could put it. You know, he's an intelligent smartass. So I chose Ryan Reynolds, but he's too much of an easy pick for me. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I chose, like, then you can also have some other people who not necessarily have to be like a smart ass all the time. So this is I know I'm gonna get some feedback for this. So y'all know the email address. I'll say it again at the end, but it's told my wife podcast at gmail.com. I know I'm gonna get the hate mail. Go ahead and send it. um I chose Zach Efron. I also chose John Cena. I chose Tom Hardy. The reason why I chose Tom Hardy is because he can disappear into all his roles. Tom Hardy will play a part and you don't know who he is.
yeah, yeah. That's true.
I
That's true.
chose Chris Pratt, and I also chose Jai Courtney. Jai Courtney actually he plays multiple levels. He's really good. So I chose him as well. Um, I couldn't choose the General Hoffman. I couldn't find a person to play Ty. Ty is really hardcore. These are other characters that are throughout the game, but depending on how you play the game and which what that game, I'm sorry, depending on how they do the movie, and if they actually do some of the where some of these characters come out, I want to see some of these characters. One character I want to see is Anya, and if they play the
Yeah.
Anya that's in Gears 3, I want to see Katie Sackhoff play it. Katie Sackhoff plays in so many different things. She was um, she was recently in The Mandalorian, um, and I'm trying to think what else that she was in. She was in a movie with Dave Bautista, and I cannot remember the name of that movie. They were both in the same movie. They were on the Dark Plane. I think it was. I can't remember. It was. I want to say it was the one with Riddick, though. It's one of the Riddick movies.
Uh,
So
it might have been the Chronicles of Riddick. Yeah,
I don't know. I
but
don't think it was. I
maybe
don't
the
think it was
first
the
one.
Chronicle. I don't
You
think it
don't
was
think it was
Chronicles
Chronicles?
Riddick. I think it was just the one that's just Riddick. I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't even think I saw that one all the way. I think I've seen like a couple parts and then that's it.
Right. But when you get a chance, look up Katie Sackhoff, and you could probably see if you recognize her. She was in a lot of good movies, and she's really, really tough. I think she'll play a good Anya. Um, but for Queen Mara, I really want to see if they put Queen Mara in there. I actually chose Emma Thompson, Helen Mirren, or Gwendolyn Christie. Gwendolyn Christie was in Star Wars. She played the Phasma in Star Wars, but a lot of people know her as Brienne of Tarth. She actually plays some really good roles, and she can act. And I think she could actually play a good Queen Mara. Um, but I also love how elegant like Queen Mara is in the game is too.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I want to see possibly Helen Mirren in it, but I chose those other 2 as well. But my
I,
top pick
I,
for that role would be Helen Mirren.
yeah. You know who I was thinking for that role, and I know Queen Mara looks a little. She doesn't look as young. Because she has sort of like an older look to her.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
know, but I was thinking about Carrie Ann Moss as a Queen Mary as well. Maybe not as old because Carrie Ann Moss is kind of like up there in age right about now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she has this real melatonin voice,
Mhm. Yeah.
uh, and she's so when she says something,
Mhm.
she's sort of like she's very confident and cocky in a female way, in a feminine way,
Right.
and when she says something, she means it, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's like, I feel like she would have made a good Queen Mara as well, Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very anxious to see who they do, who they choose for these roles, and what roles they actually put in the movies and the animated show. So, um, well, we're running out of time here. So, any last minute thoughts on Gears?
But the only thought I have is I'm gonna do my best to try to finish part three. That's my thought.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, my last minute thoughts is I'm gonna get him to finish. So, That's what we're
That's a
gonna
good way to
do.
piggyback.
We're gonna
Good
get
way to piggyback.
we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep charging at it. I'm gonna see if we can get him to play at least once a week. We're gonna try that. Uh, but what we would like to do, we would like to hear your thoughts. For all of those who follow us on Instagram, you follow us on Facebook. You got our email address, told my wife podcast at gmail.com. Hit us up. Let us know what you think. Are you excited for the movie? Tell us what you want to see in the movie, some of the things that you want to see if you've played the game. And just give us just your overall thoughts. Our Instagram is also told my wife at told my wife podcast. At Facebook, you can find us on Facebook looking up I told my wife I'm paying bills. And again, like I said, we would love to hear from you. So until then, this is Slim
This is Black.
saying happy gaming. Have a good one, everyone.
All right.